Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today we've got a bit of a different kind of a video. I was having a conversation with a mate the other day. He wanted to buy a guitar for his kid, and I was like, I don't really know much about beginner guitars, to be completely honest right now. I mostly play pretty expensive instruments. It's my living, and I've been playing a long time. So, and he said, oh, shall I just buy one off Amazon? And I thought, well, I don't know. What's on Amazon? So I went and had a look, and the cheapest acoustic guitar that I could get on Amazon was £31, which is really not very much money for an acoustic guitar. I do recommend most beginners start off with an electric guitar, but I started with an acoustic guitar. I bought the cheapest electric as well. We're going to test that at some point shortly. So anyway, this is the cheapest acoustic guitar that I could get on Amazon. I have no idea what's in store for me here at all, right? Except that it's going to be really cheap and probably not going to come with much stuff. If I can just get this without damaging the camera. There we go. Case is out. Okay, so what we got? Let's get rid of. Oh, hang on, it comes with some goodies as well. Let's have a get rid of that box. So comes in a very special. I don't even know what we call this. Polystyrene foamy sort of. Well, not polystyrene. Foam, light foam covering. I'm not holding this in great hopes, but then again, things made. I'm guessing this is made in China. I have no idea. It doesn't even have. It's like a completely no. It's got no branding on it anywhere. It doesn't even have a sticker inside the sound hole saying what brand it is. So it has absolutely no branding at all. I'd be very surprised if it was solid wood, although it kind of looks like it. So it's almost certainly not going to be in tune. So let's start off with trying to get it in tune and then just have a little play and see exactly how horrible it is. Feels a bit weird. Oh, the strings are very, very loose. Be interesting to see if I can even get it in tune. Now the fact that the strings are this loose means that there's definitely going to be a bit of a struggle with the neck. The neck's going to be bending, because I was thinking actually the action on this doesn't look too bad really for a guitar of this kind of price bracket. But let's see. Let's say that again after I've got it in tune. At least the strings are on, I guess. They probably would have saved a few quid if they'd left the strings off, but beginners wouldn't know how to put the strings on, so I guess they're going to have to. First impressions are not too bad. The tuners don't feel as horrible as, like I have played occasionally like really cheap guitars at parties or something, and somebody's passed when I said, here, play a tune or whatever, and they've sometimes been pretty gnarly and difficult to get in tune, but this seems, I mean, I shouldn't be speaking until I've actually got it in tune and played a chord, I suppose, but the tuners don't feel too bad. That's my initial first impression, is the quality of the tuners is not bad. For 30 quid, I mean, the tuners that I have on my guitar probably cost more than 30 quid for a set. That's not bad. Neck feels a little chunky, but hey, I mean, starting to go a little, it's going to get a little bit funky, the tuning, but any guitar would, even the most expensive guitar, if it's had no tension on the neck and suddenly you put loads of tension on, is going to it's going to take a little time to settle in against the truss rod. So I'm not going to be blaming this guitar for that. So the action's a little on the high side, right? But I mean, you can kind of expect it. Definitely at the nut. One of the things that we'll be looking at in a future video is what you can do to a guitar like this to improve it. And the first thing would definitely be taking a bit of distance off the nut there, because the strings, even at the nut, they're quite hard to press down. If I was a beginner, I'd be finding that a little bit of a struggle. Sorry, this stopping to tune up thing is going to be a fairly consistent part of this video, I suspect. Okay. I mean, I have to press quite hard to get that D chord. If I was really new to guitar, I'd be feeling like that was that's gonna hurt my fingers, right? And my fingers are fairly tough, but I can feel it. And the other problems, and this is important. I guess this sort of stuff's important to know about as well for beginners, particularly. But because the strings are so high, when I'm playing a C chord, when my first finger is pressing the fret down correctly, the other strings are so far up that they're kind of touching either side of my finger there. It's really difficult for me to get a nice clean C chord, you know, and I'm fairly decent at playing a C chord, usually. I mean, the sound's quite brittle, but it's not bad if you were, you know, but here you can start to hear, already I'm like, oh God. One of the things when you get a really high action is that when you've got to press the string quite far down to get a fret, it kind of bends the note out of tune. So while the string open might be in tune, when you're pressing it down, you have to press really hard to get the note clear. That's actually, yeah, I kind of hear it's a bit sharp. It's just, it's not quite there, you know. Try to get it so it sounds really nice, like a fourth, and then fifth. Actually, it's not. That one's not too bad. The third string. Not too bad on that particular one, but yeah, it's just for me to play like a. You can hear the intonations go, and it's difficult for me to play this guitar. This is exactly the sort of guitar I hate getting given if I'm playing at a party somewhere and somebody wants me to play something. They go, here, you've got, you know, you can play guitar, and then I go like, oh God, how am I going to play on this? Because bar chords are really difficult, and they're a bit out of tune. It's possible, but it's just really, really difficult. It will be an interesting little kind of exercise to see if this guitar is workable into any sort of decent playing condition and what I'd have to do. But sound-wise, I'm you know, it's a bit brittle. Now, just for comparison, I've got here a Froggy bottom acoustic, which is like about as far end, you know, the other way as you could possibly go. A lot warmer straight away. You should be able to hear that it's a. Richer, kind of fuller sound if we go back to our Amazon special now. It's almost, in some ways it's kind of cool for a bit of a bluesy and earthy got some sort of, you know, very pokey, I'd say. It's got a lot of mid-range and kind of grunty. It doesn't sound, you know, it doesn't sound beautiful, but it doesn't sound bad. Strings could definitely do with a change. The strings are pretty horrible, and there's a lot of this string noise that I don't get on my Diodarios that I would normally play. And I think that will be part of the changeover. I think a new set of strings, trying to adjust the action of that a little bit. Probably the truss rod as well, because the neck's visibly kind of bowing. If you look at it, it's, you know, it's sloping up like that. They did in a little bag here give us some picks quite thick picks really for beginners. Beginners should always play with thin picks if you're a beginner. But it has given us a little Allen key, which I'm assuming is for a truss. Yeah, is going to be for the truss rod adjustment. So it's that would be. It'll be an interesting thing to see what happens to this before it goes to the tip or the charity shop or whatever. It's I'm going to have a go and just see how I can get, if I can get it playing and sounding much better for, you know, and what I'd have to do to it to be able to do that. I've got a very good friend of mine and one of the finest luthiers in the country is going to come and help me see what we can do to this thing. But there you go. That's the cheapest guitar on Amazon. Is not bad. It's not a great one for a beginner because it's got a high action and it's difficult to play. But if we can find a way of, you know, cheaply and effectively getting the nut down and adjusting the truss rod and doing some lessons showing you guys how to do that, you know, it's not bad for 30 quid versus, well, a lot more than that. Is it 100 times more? I'm just trying to think. It's a lot. I think these guitars are like $7 grand or $8 grand. That's a lot. I didn't pay that. I bought it secondhand, but that's new. That's the price of those things, right? So that's you know, 30 quid, $7 grand. Rather different, isn't it? You know. So let's. This is never going to sound or play like that, right? But it'll be an interesting. And it's still got the tuning thing going on. But that, like I said, let's not blame the guitar for going from. Being in a cold delivery van with slack strings, you know, it has been in the studio, the back of the room there for a little while. Now I see that the tuners are a bit notchy. I've just discovered one where it's kind of jumped up quite a lot. It's not bad, you know. You can. Oh, he says. So the conclusion here at this stage is that buying a 30 quid guitar off Amazon is probably not a great idea if you're a beginner because it's very, very difficult to play. Now, if we can manage to you know, tweak it, change the action and stuff, then this might become a very playable guitar for not much money. Adjusting the truss rod doesn't cost anything. Filing the nut down isn't very difficult, doesn't cost anything. New set of strings, 5 quid. If doing that means that this becomes a playable thing, then I might change my opinion. But generally, I think for real beginners, you're better off with an electric guitar, especially if you're going at the beginner market, because the actions are generally a lot lower. Acoustic guitars are, you know, they're a lot harder to play, physically more demanding to play. So unless we can really do some serious stuff with this, I think you'd be better off either spending considerably more. Generally, it seems to me to be about a couple of hundred quid before you get to acoustic guitars that are decent. Or getting yourself an electric guitar. But this was really interesting. I haven't played a guitar this cheap for a long time, other than, you know, like I said, occasionally I get thrown stuff like this at parties. But even, you know, this is better than some of those ones that I've been thrown at, which I'm pretty sure cost a lot more, you know. But this is like no brand guitar. It's got no brand markings on it whatsoever. So, you know, for 30 quid, can't really argue. I'm kind of really hoping that tweaking it is going to make a difference. So stay tuned and see what happens with this guitar. You'll find all of the info that you need over on the website. Go and check out the guitar gear section to find out all about what we do to this thing and if it ends up actually being playable. Hope this was interesting a little bit, and I will see you for more very soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.